We're going to do a tag team approach now. We're going to have two speakers coming out together. First, we're going to have Jay Bestermann, who is Senior Director of Product Development for ARRIS, and Ed Shrum, who is Senior Director of Strategic Architecture for Cox Communications. Jay's out first, and then comes Ed. Hi, guys.
Thank you, Alan. Appreciate it.
Good to see you both. Take a seat. So Ed is going to do first we're going to do a little Q&A, and then Ed is going to do a presentation?
Yeah, do a little demo.
A little demo, okay, great. So first, before we get started, we talk about gateways a lot as a way to bring in multi-screen video services and get IP signals around the house. But we always hear about two different kinds of gateways. I always get them confused. Tell me what the difference is between a headed gateway and a headless gateway.
Yeah, a headed gateway is a gateway that you would have an audio and video output on. A headless gateway has no direct audio or video output, and content would be distributed in the home with an IP service.
So a headless gateway is something you like stick in a closet somewhere. It's not.
Could be in a basement, a closet. Could be on a shelf somewhere. It doesn't need to be next to your primary TV.
Right. So as a consumer, which would I rather have, the headless or the headed? I would think the headless.
You know, I think there depends on the situation. There's applications for both headed and headless. Depends on the market, whether it's U.S. market, Europe, South America. You know, as a consumer, I think it gives you the flexibility, a headless gateway, to put the gateway anywhere in the home that you like,
right,
and then be able to provide content to any room in the home, whether it's on a personal communication device, iPad, smartphone, or on the big screen.
Right. Now, ARRIS has both, right?
We do have both, yes. We have both types of products for different markets. Different customers have different preferences.
Right.
Absolutely.
You want to tell us a little bit about the two?
Yeah, so I have I'm responsible for what we call MG2402. That's a headless gateway. It's RDK based. It's really changing the way content is distributed in the home. Content's distributed with DLNA or DTCP/IP for security, and distributed via MoCA, Wi-Fi, or Ethernet in the home to the different screens.
Okay. Which one is more out in the market so far?
Headed is definitely out in the market more, but headless is a change in architecture that is up and coming.
Right. Whenever I hear headless gateway, I always think of the Headless Horseman from.
Yeah, there are lots of different acronyms or names that people refer to headless gateways as. You know, there's Sleepy Hollow is one common, or Blimmies. You know, there's different characters out there that people use.
Will we ever get to the point where the gateway is totally out of the house and it's outside the home, or it's in the network somewhere?
You know, there could be some transition where you see it as more of a NID on the outside of the home, and then content distribution in the home with MoCA, for instance.
Right.
You know, will it move to the cloud? I think there'll always be some type of CPE device in the home to terminate either a coax network or an optical network out in the future sometime.
Good. Okay. So Ed, what do you have to demonstrate to us today?
So what I was going to show was an actual implementation of some services we have running over an ARRIS gateway as an example.
The headed gateway or the headless gateway?
So it's a headless gateway in this scenario.
Right.
So one of the things that at Cox Communications as an operator, why this is so important to us, is we're real passionate about how do we deliver our services to our customers in a consistent and easy way and reliable way, and we think the gateway is foundational to how we're going to do that. In terms of it simplifies the operation complexity for the operator, as well as it simplifies the manner in which we get our services to our customer, and the means in which they can connect, and the means in which we can help them diagnose any problems that may be in the home. It becomes a beachhead for us for terminating our services, abstracting how they are delivered into the home, and giving us a single view, whereas previously we had a cable modem, EMTA, and then set-top box delivery platforms. We combine those all into a single platform with these headed platforms that we have today. So we have here,
and you're going to be passing out gateways to everybody after this is
you
over,
can
right?
you can talk to Jay about that one. That's not my department.
Right.
So what we have here is the headed ARRIS gateway. It's their MG2402 platform, and we've got three different device platforms we're going to show today driving our Trio user interface. So if you there we go. So if any of you are fortunate enough to be a current Cox customer and are familiar with our Trio guide that we have deployed in our multi-room DVR service today, this should look very familiar to you. I'm sorry, I'm pointing at the TV into the set-top box. So this set-top box looks very similar to what a traditional MSO set-top box would look like, but this is actually an IP set-top box, and the main difference is, from a complexity perspective, we've taken the complexity out of the set-top box and put it into the gateway. So all the MSO cable-specific technologies are in the gateway, and what we have running in this set-top box is essentially a web client, with DTCP as a standard technology for content protection and DLNA for how the content is streamed into the device. So this becomes a very simple device, very easy for us to operate and manage. Also gives us the flexibility to support different devices as a managed platform, so we can more readily get new devices out into the field, into our customers' hands, and stay up to date with what our customers want within their households from a managed device, from what we would offer. If I move over to the, we also have examples of this running on consumer electronics platforms. It's the same look and feel that you expect from a set-top box. We also have running on consumer electronics platforms. So, although it looks like we have a problem with our part of our demo, okay. But we have a Samsung TV, and we also over there on the other screen we have a standard PC running the same Trio HTML5 interface, providing the same set of services that you would get on a set-top box. So while you see a lot of demonstrations about second screen applications, the gateway is really all about how do we replicate the primary screen experience on alternative devices, so that a unmanaged device, customer can go and pick up a smart TV or bring in their PC and connect it, and that is the replacement for their set-top box. You give the customer the flexibility to connect whatever device they choose to use, and no longer do they have to take a managed device from us if they don't want to. But if they do, of course, we're going to have an option available for them.
Do you have this in a lot of markets already, Ed?
So no, this is a prototype at this point in time. We're looking to start rolling that out. First part of next year is when we would expect to start deploying these kind of platforms with an HTML5 version of our Trio guide.
Okay. And are there other smart TVs you're going to be working with besides Samsung?
Yeah, I mean, so the platform is fundamentally open. So as long as the device supports DLNA, HTML5, and DTCP, right. The beauty of this is the gateway basically advertises services. So if you're right. a DLNA capable device and you have those building blocks, then your device can consume services. There is, as part of the DLNA program, a certification program for what they're terming DLNA Premium Video, which ensures that those building blocks have been implemented in a way that's consistent with their guidelines. But any consumer electronics device that has gone through those guidelines and implement them can consume our service.
Good. A lot of operators that are starting with gateways are starting with the headed gateway. Can you elaborate on why you're choosing the headless approach first instead?
Well, actually, we are starting with a headed version. So okay. our headed version is actually the hardware associated with that's going to be deployed later this month. So it's a 6-tuner headed multi-room DVR platform that we're okay. going to be adding software to it to support consumer electronics devices like a smart TV.
Right.
The headless version of that will be deployed in late 2014 timeframe, right. And that will be a combined device that supports voice, video, and data. And so we started with the headless version because it was an easy evolution from where we are right now with our multi-room DVR platform.
You started with the headed version,
yes.
Right? Okay, but headless is where you want to go.
Yeah, headless is where we want to go. We see the operational savings associated with only having to deploy a single box into a home for triple pay customers. As well as we look at the connected home and how do we manage the complexity associated with that.
Right.
We think that a single platform that is aware of all the networks within the home, the MoCA network, Ethernet, Wi-Fi, voice, video, data, we need that visibility, and having that beachhead in a single platform, I think, is the right way to address that.
Okay. Jay, are you finding that with your other customers too, that they're starting with headed, but they want to go to head? They want to cut that head off?
Yeah, we're seeing that as a common theme across the industry, where today there are headed set-top boxes out in the market, but definitely there's a strategic movement towards headless implementations and different operators. Definitely.
So head is just kind of a transition strategy to the next step.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. I agree that. What's happening is the technology around being able to distribute content to third-party devices via DLNA. That can be done with a headed gateway over IP or headless. It's
Right.
it's just a strategic change on whether you put the video and audio outputs on that device, headed versus headless.
So are we eventually going to get to the stage where we just have the gateway and there's no set-top boxes at all, or we just have these tiny little matchbooks on top of the TV sets? Or?
Yeah, if you look out in the distant future, that's a possibility where you have smart TVs and Xboxes, PlayStations, those types of devices, where they're able to display the content, essentially just be the renderer onto the TV, and
Right.
the gateway provides the termination point for the MSO services to the edge of the home.
Right. So we'll have this Uber box. As long as nothing goes wrong with it, we'll be okay. Right?
We'll be in good shape. That's right.
Okay. All right. All right. Thanks very much, guys.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time. Thanks, Jay. Thanks, Ed.